Okay, we will get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Joy O'Nash. I'm with ERG, a contractor supporting the work of EPA's Pollution Prevention Program, and I will be moderating today's webinar presenting the 2024 P2 Regional Recognitions. Before we begin today's webinar and we introduce our speakers, I'd like to briefly go over some housekeeping details. For closed captioning of today's webinar, please select the closed captioning icon at the bottom of your screen. If you're having any technical issues with Zoom, please email kessel.john@erg.com. All participants are in listen-only mode right now, and please submit questions for discussion into the Q&A feature. We will have time for Q&A at the end of the presentations. And also, today's session will be recorded for future posting on the EPA's Pollution Prevention website. During today's webinar, we will be recognizing businesses from 5 EPA regions who've been selected for a 2024 P2 Regional Recognition Award. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to back up just a sec. Just going to cover the agenda real quick here. First, we're going to hear from EPA with a welcome. Then we're going to hear who the winners are, and then hear about resource conservation projects, which are projects focused on energy, water, or materials conservation, reuse, or material savings. And then we'll hear about chemical use reduction projects that are focused on chemical use reduction and or hazardous waste generation reduction. With that, I'm going to turn the program over to Anahita Williamson.
Thanks so much, Joy. And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anahita Williamson. I am the Director of the Sustainability, Prevention, and Right to Know Division, otherwise known as SPART, in EPA's Office of Pollution Prevention and Toxics. So before we begin, I'd like to first thank my EPA regional colleagues for all they've done to facilitate our pollution prevention recognition program, especially Melissa Payan. Melissa is our pollution prevention coordinator from Region 8, and she's been instrumental in organizing today's webinar and this year's competitive awards program. So thank you, Melissa. EPA regularly recognizes the accomplishments and best practices of companies that have implemented pollution prevention projects or process improvements at their facilities through EPA's Regional Pollution Prevention Recognition Program. This year, EPA reviewed and accepted nominations for nonprofit, for-profit, and tribal companies located in Regions 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10. Next slide, please. We're excited to be here today, and we're here to recognize the incredible work of 17 businesses across these regions for going above and beyond in their efforts to implement pollution prevention practices in their work. Congratulations to everyone on this slide. Next slide, please. The combined effort, as you can see, for this award cycle has resulted in the following metrics. I'm not going to read them all, but these tremendous results not only demonstrate that we all have a role to play in pollution prevention, but that we can all benefit through business practices that not only improve our environment, but also improve our bottom line. Really, pollution prevention just makes sense for our environment and for businesses. As award recipients, each of these businesses now serves as leaders in the pollution prevention community. Throughout the course of our webinar today, you will hear from 14 of our 2024 award recipients, and we'll have the opportunity to learn more about their conceptualization and design of their projects and the lessons that they've learned along the way. I personally, and I know all of you, are so proud of the accomplishments that each of our recipients have achieved, and I'm sure that you will find them as inspiring as I do. So please now join me in welcoming our first speaker and our first presenter, Amy Bruce of Nestle Purina Pet Care. Amy?
Hey, how's everybody going? I am Amy Bruce. I am the environmental coordinator at Nestle Purina Pet Care in Hartwell, Georgia. Nestle Purina Hartwell factory is the 21st factory in the Purina family. We are 1 million square foot factory, and it is a remodeled textile factory. We have up to 900 employees. We have a variety pack section of our factory, a distribution section, and as well as an ASRS, which is an automated storage retrieval system. We are currently running 5 lines with a 6th starting up in mid-year. The products we manufacture are Fancy Feast, the small cans, as well as the tub line, and we also make Friskies, which is a larger option for cat food. We only make wet cat food here at Hartwell. Next slide. So Nestle Purina acknowledges the need for sustainability by driving climate action, designing packaging for recycling, and conserving water. Our climate goals include net zero by 2050. We plan to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by 2030. By using renewable energy sources, 95% of Purina's electricity in our factories in the US are renewable. We have a nationwide factory objective to achieve net zero goals. We also assist in renewable energy suppliers and invest in them. For example, Purina supports a community of solar program in numerous factories to help expand the solar power throughout the local utilities. To further our climate, we also have energy saving initiatives. We have our corporate goals to include diversity of energy sources to reduce our carbon footprint. We also have corporate recycling initiatives. 95% of our plastic recycling will be recyclable by 2025. We also incorporated recycled materials in our manufacturing. We also support recycling programs and invest in recycling programs on national and local level. We have our factory. Sorry, I'm still talking about go back one slide. We have our waste to landfill, zero waste to landfill, where we separate all our waste. Our general trash goes for energy recovery, which is used in kilns to manufacture concrete mix. We also utilize Georgia's soil amendment program for local farmers to use our nutrient-rich water processes to fertilize their fields. We also have improved our recycling program to include partnerships with local communities, recycling companies to recycle our metals, cardboard, paper, and aluminum. Next slide, please. So at the end of 2022, we had a Waste Watchers workshop where we had participants from the local factory as well as national factories. We all got together to identify energy, water, and waste savings throughout our factory. One of the projects we identified was optimizing our retort cooling system. Our retorts are actually large pressure cookers that cook the cans that cat food is in. We improved our controls and temperature to balance the system, which helped reuse the cooling water. It saved 1 million gallons of water, and an estimated savings for energy is 220,277 kilowatt hours. We also have water stewardship examples. So the factory examples are hose reel projects. We replaced high flow nozzles with low flow nozzles, and we also reduced the pressure within our hoses throughout the factory. We saved 6.5 million gallons of water by doing this. We also improved awareness throughout the factory by fixing leaks and training that if we see a leak, there's a problem and it needs to be fixed. We also corrected our heat exchanger condensate return project in our boiler room. The condensate off the heat exchanger was being released to the floor. We added a condensate pump, which collects water sources and pumps into our deaeration tank. The retort system condensate steam collection pumped it back into the cooling water and captured the water to reuse for the cooling system, which reduced water usage as well as energy and chemical reductions. We also changed our set points for our air compressors, which saved 337,000 kilowatt hours. Next slide, please. I'm sorry, this is our total savings for 2023 is here at the bottom, which is pretty extensive, and we're very proud of that. Next slide, please. I feel that the most important aspect of our sustainability within our factory is the awareness aspect of it. We have a great website, and here it is about sustainability commitment from Nestle Purina throughout the United States. It has a lot of great information, as well as areas to recycle your products. Your waste products. We also utilize monthly training for new hires. Since we are an expanding company, we get about 35 new people a month. So we talk about our sustainability practices and our corporate goals that we need to achieve. We also do tours throughout the factory to show our separation areas, waste collection rooms, and we also tour the wastewater treatment plant. one of the most things one of the main things I'm very proud to say I have created is our environmental club. We're called the Planeteers. We established in 2024, and it includes factory employees from factory management to line operators. We're a cross-functional team that drives continuing improvement on the sustainability front. It's also a safe place to talk about environmental issues that are realized throughout the floor and throughout the factory. And it also gives visibility to our back shifts, our night and weekends, since we are a 24-hour plant, and it's owned by the operators. We have included community service, like Hartwell cleanup, and Planeteers touch on all topics. We identify leaks. We talk about chemical storage and usage, where water is being overused, and we also optimize our processes. And here at the bottom is a picture of my group, and I'm very proud of them. Thank you all.
Everybody, Alex Hansen. I'm the superintendent for energy and utilities for the Evonik Mobile site. Just a little background on Evonik. We're a German specialty chemical company. Mobile is our biggest site in the region, has about 800 employees and spread across about 27 different production units, making all sorts of different specialty chemicals. So just going into our project, we have a pretty large chilled water system on site. So this is pretty much like your typical AC system at your house, just about 2,000 times bigger for each chiller. And we have 6 of these. So they're really large consumers of energy for the site, responsible for about 13% of the site's electrical consumption and 10% of the site's cooling water consumption. And cooling water towers consume a lot of water for freshwater makeup, just to make up for drift losses and evaporation, and to maintain the proper concentration of different treatment chemicals. So these chillers, they're quite old, a lot of them. We have, like I said, there's 6 of them, different efficiencies, different ways you want to run them. So it's very difficult for our operators to maintain that without continuously watching them. So the idea we had was to install this advanced process control module on it. And on the next slide, I'll kind of go over the results of it. So it's just a kind of simplified schematic of what the system's watching a bunch of different variables on each of the chillers and the system itself. So what this does is just allows the system to run at the most efficient point at all times, watching all these different variables and demand from the plants, which changes pretty frequently, just depending on what process they're running or whether they're shutting down or starting up. So it's just a lot better at maintaining that optimal efficiency point. It can also watch for changes in demand and kind of anticipate that and increase the load on the chillers or decrease it, and tell the operators to shut a chiller down or turn one off whenever the demand is going to be significantly different for a long period of time. So the results, we're pretty proud of this. One of the main ones was decreasing electrical consumption by 3.2 gigawatt hours per year. That's about 10% of the total electrical consumption for the chillers in a year, and then reducing the amount of cooling water that the chillers are actually consuming to cool off by 34,000 cubic meters per year. And these savings together created about 2,400 tons of CO2 reductions in our Scope 2 emissions based on our power source. And altogether, these worked out to about $280,000 a year in total savings. So we're pretty happy with that, and still optimizing the system as we can. So that's it. Thanks, everyone.
Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Sarin. I work for Avantor here in Solon, Ohio, just east of Cleveland. Just a little kind of introduction to the company, because a lot of folks probably don't know what Avantor does. We're a global provider of mission-critical products and services to customers and suppliers in the life sciences, education, government, advanced technologies, and applied materials industries. Our expertise is really focused on reliable products, digital solutions, and innovation for manufacturing facilities to help those businesses bring their life-changing possibilities, or make their life-changing possibilities a reality. We have 14 CGMP facilities. We have 13 innovation centers where we have 90 ISO certified manufacturing and distribution and sales locations. And we have 200 plus manufacturing, distribution, and sales sites. And you can see we ship more than 300,000 different products to customers globally. And we employ about 14,500 associates in 30 plus countries. So we truly do have a global footprint that supports 180 plus total countries. Next, there you go. The Solon manufacturing location, you can see here in 2 different pictures. We have 2 different buildings. So we really focus on high quality diagnostic testing solutions, reagents, and preservatives, along with proprietary blended powders. We really focus on the life sciences and biopharma industries, and we are both ISO 9001 and 13485 registered, which is for medical devices. We also do have products that are covered under the FDA. So we were kind of challenged after 2020 by our corporation to decrease our greenhouse gas emissions by 10% over 5 years. And that is based on a baseline. That would not be, based on production or anything like that. The expectation would be that we hit that 10% reduction regardless of increases in volumes. So really, the Solon site focused on installing meters on electrical panels to track usage, see where our highest usage was. We completed an interior and exterior LED lighting upgrade. We added motion sensors to automate all of our lighting. We replaced several HVAC rooftop units with energy efficient modules. We also installed a control system that allowed for HVAC schedules for off shift and weekend zones, added damper controls in high use areas. We also installed some high velocity ceiling fans to help in areas like warehouses and everything, especially during the winter months, to make sure the heat is where people actually work and not up towards the ceiling. Our actual initiatives, while we were targeting 10% over 5 years, we were able to get 15% in actually just about 3 years, probably actually under 3 years. So we were 2 years ahead of schedule. So if you look at it, we reduced more than 1,000 metric tons of CO2 compared to our 2020 baseline. You can see the LED lighting project, about 1.3 million kilowatt hours. And then the implementation of the HVAC changes, about 682,000 kilowatt hours. So nice changes there. Obviously some nice financial savings as well. All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Edwards, and I am the Sustainability and Energy Programs Coordinator here at Breckenridge Grand Vacations, or BGV, as we like to call it, located in Breckenridge, Colorado. I'm honored to accept the award on behalf of BGV and to be recognized by the Environmental Protection Agency for our work on natural gas conservation. The soul of BGV is Sharing Smiles. BGV is a vacation hospitality developer that builds, sells, and operates fractional real estate resorts. After more than 3 decades of success, BGV remains a family-owned business with a deep commitment to supporting our community. We aim to reduce our overall greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by 2030 and 80% by 2050, largely through conservation and energy efficiency upgrades. Next slide, please. The Grand Colorado on Peak 8 and the Grand Timber Lodge, part of the family of resorts built and operated by BGV, are at the base of Peak 8 and 9 at the Breckenridge Ski Resort, sitting around 10,000 feet in altitude. These resorts see around 29,000 check-ins and experience an average snowfall of 300 inches annually. We are fortunate to be surrounded. Oh, can you go back to the next slide? Previous slide. We are fortunate to be surrounded by some of the most stunning landscapes in our country, but that comes with severe winter weather conditions. As a result, one of our top priorities is ensuring the safety of our owners and guests during the winter months. To achieve this, our snow melt systems operate at a high capacity to keep our walkways and driveways free of snow and ice. These systems are powered by natural gas, and will run for the 7-month winter season to provide consistent safety for our guests. Next slide, please. Project that has brought us here today is the mitigation of our snowmelt systems usage at the Grand Colorado on PK and the Grand Timber Lodge. Each snowmelt system is unique to the property. The Grand Colorado has 2 main systems for their 3 buildings, whereas the Grand Timber Lodge has 5 main systems for their 8 buildings. Our resort's original snowmelt system relied on metal sensors embedded in the ground to detect moisture and temperature, which is that center photo there. When snow covered these sensors, the system would activate, melting the snow, and then turn it off once the snow was cleared. In January of this year, our team reprogrammed the system by incorporating weather forecasting from on-site weather stations, which is the right picture there. This allowed snowmelt systems to start early, melting the snow as it falls during the storm. We also adjusted the system's temperatures set points to run at a lower temperature and programmed it to turn off when the outside temperature exceeds 45 degrees instead of when we had it set at 60 degrees. At the Grand Timber Lodge, we've incorporated advanced technology smart controls. These include installing 15 new temperature and moisture sensors to provide more accurate data, zone valves for isolating areas, and variable frequency drives, VFDs, for modulating motor controls, which increases energy efficiency and reduces operational costs. In addition to the software upgrades, we've introduced new programming algorithms to fine-tune operations and integrate a balanced valve and heat exchanger, ensuring even heat distribution. At Grand Colorado on Peak 8, we've implemented similar enhancements, leveraging AI weather forecasting and innovative programming to adjust setting ahead of prediction storms. There's a picture on the left there. Under normal conditions, slab temperatures are maintained at 45 degrees to prevent snow accumulation. During heavier snowfalls, temperatures will be increased to 60 to 70 degrees to ensure snow and ice melt quickly. This proactive and efficient approach helps maintain safety while reducing energy consumption. Our snow melt mitigation efforts have delivered significant environmental and financial benefits at both the Grand Timber Lodge and Grand Colorado on Peak 8. Since October 2023, our resorts have saved an average of 739 million BTUs of natural gas per month, preventing 39 metric tons of CO2 emissions, which is equivalent to removing over 200,000 miles emitted by a gas-powered car. This has led to an average of 18% reduction in natural gas consumption and an average of 24,000 in savings per resort during the first quarter of 2024. These results underscore the commitment to our sustainability while enhancing operational efficiency and financial performance at both properties. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Hickey, Sustainability Director at Bridger Bowl Ski Area. Bridger Bowl is a community nonprofit ski area founded in 1951. We're the second largest nonprofit ski area in the nation. We're located in the beautiful Bridger Mountain Range, 16 miles north of Bozeman, Montana. Our operation covers 2,000 acres of private and Forest Service land, and we are a seasonal operation operating from the first weekend in December into early to mid-April. And during that 4.5 months, our workforce of 600 employees serve up to 370,000 guest visits. Those employees receive annual sustainability training that covers over 100 initiatives, including a community-leading waste reduction program. Through participation in the Montana EcoStar program and the National Ski Area Association's Sustainable Slopes program, we're constantly inspired by the work of fellow ski areas, businesses, and nonprofits. We're also helped by participating in NSAA's Climate Challenge because it provides an industry-specific template for our baselining and goal setting and tracking, and a network of industry leaders in energy reduction and P2 reduction tools and strategies. But today, we're showcasing our 50 kilowatt solar array installed with the help of a grant from Northwestern Energy and their Universal Systems Benefit Fund. The system produces around 65,000 kilowatt hours a year. That's 3% of our annual energy needs, but it's enough to power the lifts and snowmaking in our beginner area, as well as power our ski patrol building, with monetary savings of over $9,000 a year. Additional energy savings come from an ongoing conversion of lighting from halogen, fluorescent, and incandescent to LED, along with motion sensors. And that's been a really quick return on investment. And together, those projects provide a reduction of 48 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalency annually. Reducing staff and guest exposure to PFAS and other contaminants in traditional petroleum-based waxes was accomplished through a transition to plant-based ski wax, along with a new, more efficient waxing machine that reduced the volume of wax used by 50%. Also pictured on this slide is our vertical flow wetlands water treatment system, which began as an experimental system with the Montana State University Engineering Department and Montana's Department of Environmental Quality. This ecological method of treating wastewater is now a proven and accepted system, meeting our goals of treating effluent to a higher standard than we did with our conventional system. All of our lodges have bottle filling stations, and in fact, the logoed refillable water bottles pictured are one of the incentives offered to carpool and bus transit riders. On the next slide, to reduce traffic emissions for visitors coming to our resort and to provide a service to our employees and guests, Bridger Bowl covers the cost of contracting with regional transit operators to provide free transit from town. That transit operates at 15-minute intervals, and the service provides up to 35,500 rides over our 4-month operating season. That reduces anywhere from 23 to 52 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalency annually. Cold smoke is our name for our light cold powder snow, and our cold smoke commuter challenge promotes both bus transit and carpooling during a season-long incentive program for guests and employees with a grand prize of a season pass. Guests and employees record their carpool, vanpool, and bus transit rides to qualify during 2-week challenge sessions for additional rewards. Starting with simple projects such as the lighting conversion and motion detector lighting, and taking on one larger project at a time helped us build momentum while providing measurable emission and monetary savings. Networking with Montana State University and other like-minded businesses within our community helped to really drive development of the support systems we need in a geographically large state but small population like Montana. Our efforts are not only important to our guests, but also serve to attract employees who value our ethic and support for a healthy planet and a strong community. And I'm very proud to accept this award for Bridger Bowl.
Hi, my name is Laura Anthony. I'm the president of Zero Waste San Diego, a small organization with a mighty impact. Our mission is Zero Waste San Diego promotes and manages zero waste programs and events, advocates for policy change that promotes a zero waste society, educates people on how they can reduce the effects of climate change through sustainable resource management. Our 2 flagship programs are a Zero Waste Symposium, which is we host annually, and a San Diego Fix It Clinic, which we won this award today. Next. San Diego Fix It Clinic was created by Peter Mui up in Berkeley. I just took it here. I adopted his philosophy and made it grow in San Diego County. I started in 2016. We hosted at libraries, parks, senior centers, festivals, and fairs. And we're popping up all over the county with 6 contracts with 6 different entities within the county. We are also now moving up to LA County to help LA County stimulate a repair economy. We are powered by volunteers, tinkerers, support staff. We range from 14 to 85-year-olds of volunteers that help people fix their stuff. The whole idea of the Fix It Clinic is we're a pop-up event, mobile event that goes to different communities to help provide repair for all people. Our goal is to stimulate the repair economy in our community and provide convenient access to repair for all. We serve the underserved community by helping educate them on the importance of repair and how to be a good consumer by purchasing items that can be repaired and how to properly dispose of the items at the end of their life. Our largest demographic are seniors. We like to call them a remember when generation. They remember when shops were conveniently available in their community. And you cannot find a business now that can fix your lamp, your toaster, and your mixers, which are the most common items that come to our events. We do not compete with other organizations. We do not repair software, do computer software, because you can find those anywhere in the community. We don't do tablets or phones. We team up with we don't just do the fix-its, we don't just do repairs, but we also partner up with other local artist upcyclers and to provide a kind of a festival, a sustainable education, if you will, to teach people how that you can make repurpose items, everyday household items into functioning items. Examples, in December, we do a Japanese wrapping cloth instead of wrapping paper. So we take sustainable secondhand fabric and sew it into a certain dimension to make it into a wrapping cloth so instead of wrapping paper. We've also created lighting events where we can take everyday household items and make them into lamps. So our whole purpose is to repurpose, reuse, and repair. In the last 8 years, we have diverted over 30,000 pounds of waste through repair and recycling. And this is with the Fix It Clinic and the repurposes of the upcycled events. Our success rate is 64% because not everything can be repaired. And so as you'll notice that in the last 20 years, items that used to have a screw to connect things are now plastic latches. And once you break those plastic, then it's hard to put the items together. We've hosted over 150 events and we've served over 2,000 people. Next. And why do we do this? A lot of people say, why can't they just purchase something new? Well, not everything can be purchased. A lot of things that come into our clinics are cherished items that have been passed down from generations to generations. And telling someone that they have to toss them out to get something else is just not the right. And we do this for Carol. Carol's in the top right corner. She brought this long extension cord, yellow extension cord in that needed to be spliced and add a new plug. Her friends would keep telling her, just buy a new one, buy a new one. The story about Carol is that her husband had passed in July of 2023. And she remembers him in the yard using this extension cord. And she can't toss this away. This is memories. These are favorite things. So all we did, and extension cords are really easy to repair. You just need to cut it, splice it, and put a new plug on. And it was good as new. And every time we repair something, we ring the bell and we hoot and holler and it rings true. We do this for Anita. Anita's a school teacher and she's teaching her kids how to sew. So she has a bunch of these sewing machines. And one of the sewing machines didn't work. A couple of the sewing machines didn't work. So she brought them in. We showed her how to maintain it, to identify the issue, and then repair it herself. We also went to her class and taught her kids how the importance of repair by doing a story time. And let him do a take a party, which is we take a keyboard and all the kids will have tools with safety glasses on and learn how to take things apart, identifying the tools and just have a good time. And why else we do this? We do this because it reduces waste. It educates the community on the importance of repair and being a good consumer. We want people to purchase things that can be repaired, and not things that are going to be last you for 6 months and they're going to toss. We want things to last. We want to foster a culture of reuse and repair. We're trying to build communities. Everybody in this is a neighbors. There's a neighbors helping neighbors. It's not just a drop-off event. It's an event where you come together and we do it together. It's a do it together disassembly and repair. We divert items from the landfill. We have a partnership with a waster around in San Diego County that we take our items to there and they break it down. We also have great partnerships with Goodwill in all of our cities. This supports lower incomes. This saves money. And it raises awareness about e-waste. And don't toss it, repair it. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Shaveen Sinha, and I'm the Sustainability Coordinator for Western Digital's largest manufacturing sites in North America. And I'm happy to accept this award on behalf of Western Digital. We are very excited about it, and we would really like to thank the EPA, Joy, Jessica and her team, and the pollution prevention, the rest of the pollution prevention team. This was something we were very happy about. So let me tell you a little bit about Western Digital and our global sustainability commitment. So first, what do? We make hard drives, and part of our sustainability commitments, we have some very aggressive sustainability commitments where we want to reduce our Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions by 42% from all our manufacturing sites worldwide by 2030. So, and this is part of how we've got our teams and how we're approaching this. We want to be 100% renewable energy for all our manufacturing sites by 2030. And we want to be net zero on our Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions by 2032. So not only do we want to reduce it significantly, but then we want to get to net zero in a couple of years after that. When we look at water, we want to reduce our water withdrawn by 20%. And for waste, we want our waste to landfill to be less than 5%. So we mainly want to recycle and reuse most of our waste that we do generate. Next slide, please. So a little bit of an overview about our North American sites. So we have two major manufacturing facilities. One is in San Jose, California, and it's been around since 1956. It was the old IBM facility, and that subsequently over the years has now become Western Digital. There we produce a lot of hard disk drives and tape storage products, and really we produce the sensor, the reader and the writer piece of the disk drive. So it's a very important, very small piece in the overall build of the hard drive, but it's vital. Our facility there is around, about almost 29,000 square meters of Class 100 clean room, and it's a campus. We have about 16 buildings on site. And then we have our Fremont facility, which is just up the road, about 30 minutes away in the Bay Area, California. And we're producing capacity enterprise HDD, or it's hard disk drives, and client hard disk drives. So a lot of server products. We have almost a similar size clean room, Class 100 clean room, and two buildings. So two very important sites for us, but very different builds. So it's quite the challenge when we look at it from a sustainability point of view. Next slide, please. Thank you. So our project overview. What did we choose to highlight? Well, here we chose to highlight a project that we had in our Fremont facility. Joy, if you can click the thank you. So we had, we chose to highlight this because, manufacturing is one of those important things that a lot of people don't want to touch or play too much with the line, even though it's our largest user for energy, waste, and water. And so we kind of took a look at it from a different point of view and said, hey, we might be able to put some of our manufacturing tools into idle or in shutdown mode. And we had about 60 of them. And for those in the tech industry, these tools are very sensitive tools. We call them a tool. It's not so much like a jigsaw or a handsaw. These are big lithography tools that will do a lot of reactive ion etching, plating, semiconductor tools is kind of what we would say. So even just trying to play around with them can change the calibration, but we worked with manufacturing to try and do this for savings. And in the past, as it says, tools are left on. Nobody wants to touch them. They're using all the compressed dry air. They're generating waste. They're using a lot of power, a lot of water, and then chemicals. So this is what we looked at. I've included a couple of photos here of our teams because it's the people that always make this happen. And when we look at a project like this, we needed our manufacturing teams, our facilities teams, and our engineering teams, our EH&S teams to all work together to get this project going. I think the savings are on the next bit. So we saved about 2 million, almost 2 million kilowatt hours, almost around $250,000, a little bit more. It didn't cost us very much in terms of when you're looking at implementation, there's time that was put in, and we were working with our utility provider as well. And we had a consultant from Canada, EPS, Energy Performance Services, had helped us as well with the calculation, because one of the things, as you know, with sustainability projects is how do you accurately measure how much you've saved? And I'll go over that in the next slide. Thank you. One more, and then we'll go over to the next bit. Thank you. So, and one more, and that should show. So what we did and how we worked with our vendor here is we ended up doing what's called a top-down approach to determine the energy savings. And what that meant is we looked at our overall bill, electricity bill, and we did the same for water. And I haven't shown water here. And we ended up getting a regression model to predict what our energy use would be. And we got a pretty good correlation, an R-squared correlation, 0.8 or above. I don't remember the exact number. And so once we had that equation, then we use that, and that's kind of the blue line that you see, to say, hey, okay, what should our expected value be and what was our actual value? And then when did we actually implement and start turning off or turning down the tools? And as you can see, especially when you get in on the right side of the graph, you can see there's a bit of a gap between the blue line and the black dots, and the black dots being the actual usage and the blue being the expected usage. And then you can see on the bottom chart just the cumulative savings. So we summed up the difference between the two, and you can kind of see how the savings went up. It matched very well, and for dealing with 60 tools that are quite complicated, this is how we were able to get the energy savings. And that's what I wanted to highlight for us. And again, thank you very much to the EPA.
Good afternoon. My name is Dexter Dawson, and I am the Health and Safety Senior Manager here at PAS Technologies, and also a chemical engineer. my project, first of all, I'd like to thank the EPA for giving us recognition of this project as we strive through a continuous improvement through our greener MRO program. We are a standard aero component services. We are the leading global aerospace industry across the world. And we are a portion of that, this large component services industry. As you can see on the first slide, we implemented a recycling system across the whole facility. Just to give you a general setup of the components of the system. They consist of a carbon filter, 2 anion cation filters, and an ozone injector to control microorganism growth in the water, since we're recycling water throughout the whole year. So there's a tendency in the warm climates to get microorganism growth. We have 4 separate systems that were manufactured by a vendor of ours through some testing that we done. Next slide, please. Just to give you an overview of our facilities and our core services. PAS Technologies in Phoenix is a certified FAA facility that specializes in the repair of commercial and military and airplane equipment and jets. We hold OEM approvals for prime suppliers such as Boeing, Honeywell, Pratt & Whitney, Collins Aerospace, and Lockheed Martin. The core of our processes, though, is machining and metal finishing processes. That is the core of our repair processes. But during our metal finishing processes, we use chrome, nickel, cadmium plating, sulfuric, chrome acid, anodizing, and non-destructive testing, which is NDT. These processes require the use of toxic chemicals such as chromic acid, sodium cyanide, cadmium oxide, and numerous acids and alkaline substances. Next slide, please. I'm going to go through the risks. First of all, there's a lot of risks associated with these toxic chemicals. In order to produce a high quality product, we're NADCAP approved, so our rinses must be at pristine concentrations. That means that the TDS must be very low. So we have about 100 rinse tanks, which holds about 100 gallons each. So that's about 10,000 gallons in volume, excluding the rate of incoming water. So on an average day, we had a pre-treatment system that handles about 50 to 60 gallons per minute. Over a day, we were discharging over about 25 to 30 gallons of water into this POTW, the city public owned treatment centers works. And so most of that water was clean water, but because we did not have a efficient treatment program to reuse that water, we were running into just a neutralization process and then discharging it and precipitating the little toxic metals that we had. So we attempted a recycling system previously, but we only had one system to try to control all the rinses in the entire facility. Due to the low pH, the efficiency of the system did not last. That means that the resin cans became spent. So in conjunction with a vendor, we started working on bench testing, and it came to an opinion that we should use segregated systems for each process. Since each process uses a new set of chemicals, the pH is different. So at that point, through the bench testing, we were able to go and we had 4 different systems for each process line. And it seemed to work very well. So when we implemented those 4 systems, then we saw a reduction in our water usage. Our water usage was about, I would say, 10 million gallons per year annually. We reduced that about 5 million gallons per year, running at only 9 months of operation. We projection of 10 million to 15 million gallons reduction in 2024, and cost savings in 2023 was about 85,000, and we are projected to that's about 110,000 gallons in 2024. Due to our green MRO program that we have here at Standard Aero and PAS Technologies, we have CI initiatives, continuous improvement, that our next step is to achieve zero discharge. Through that, we are going to purchase an evaporator next year in order to evaporate some of the water, because one of the things that we noticed that when we are recycling, that over a period of time, the TDS starts to rise in the water that we're recycling. So we have to dump that water, discharge it to the POTW, which is about once every 3 months. Now we get an evaporator, that water that we're discharging, we can evaporate that water. In that case, we will achieve a zero discharge status in the facility. We try to achieve that in the upcoming year in 2024, 2025. Another risk that was alleviated is also that with the regulatory oversight or monitoring about discharges. Now we have eliminated that process, so there's no risk of violations, no risk of penalties, or no risk of any type of things of that nature. So the recycling program has been beneficial to us in all those aspects, and we look forward to continuing to our continuous improvement and using available technology to reduce pollution. Thank you again, the EPA, for recognizing this project.
All right, hello. My name is Emma Westfall. I'm the Environmental Health and Safety Manager with Geotech, and we are located in Stewartville, Minnesota, near Rochester, Minnesota. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so Geotech is a designer, manufacturer, and distributor of fiberglass products for the electric, utility, and animal containment markets. So a brief description of our project. In the past few years, we've invested in solvent recovery systems, which have allowed us to recover and reuse both waste acetone and liqueur thinner from coating waste. So what inspired this project? Well, we wanted to reduce the amount of solvent waste that we were generating each month. And we also wanted to reduce the cost spent on disposing of the solvent waste each month. Additionally, more recently, we've been trying to seek greener and safer chemical alternatives to using some of these solvents. So in other words, trying to think more upstream. And also, this project was just a great way to engage and train staff members on safe handling and disposal of chemicals. So some benefits of the project, we did see a 71% reduction in coating waste between 2022 and 2023. And we also saw a 22% reduction in acetone waste from 2022 to 2023. So in total, we saw, or we reduced over 10,000 pounds of waste and saved around $4,100. So some lessons learned, in addition to just training staff on the equipment, train them on how to spot issues and think proactively so you can get ahead of things. And again, I know I said it once, but definitely think upstream and always be thinking if there's greener or safer options we could be using instead. It's important to always keep staff members engaged and make sure that they know the why behind the projects, they understand why it's important. And it's also always important to be tracking your data so you can spot trends and see if what you're doing is working or if you need to make some improvements. So if you look in the bottom right there, you can see some pictures of the project itself. The equipment, it's very small. It doesn't take up a lot of space. So it's great for a manufacturing facility where space constraint is always a big issue, and also very easy to use and very easy to train too. So that's all I have. But lastly, I just want to say a big thank you for this award on behalf of Geotech.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Mook. I am the environmental manager with Valorec Star. Valorec is a leading producer of cutting-edge steel solutions, primarily focused in the seamless steel tubular market. We have facilities across the globe and in the U.S. operate in Ohio, Texas, and Oklahoma, providing steel making, rolling, heat treatment, threading, inspection, and shipping operations. Our largest domestic facility, located in Youngstown, Ohio, is a 300-acre campus housing fully integrated electric arc furnace steelmaking and tube production. All of our facilities are certified to ISO 14001, 45001, and 9001 for environment, safety, and quality, and have also been certified to be compliant with the Department of Energy ISO 50001 Ready program for energy management. Long focused on sustainability, we have many environmental initiatives and have achieved great success, including water reuse and recycling rates at greater than 99%, waste recycling rates at greater than 98%, and aggressive greenhouse gas emission reduction targets and results, including net zero carbon electricity usage. In line with our ambition to continually improve our sustainability programs, we have increased efforts around chemical usage. Our P2 project continues that progression, focusing on reducing the use of high-risk chemicals throughout our processes, targeting those categorized as carcinogenic, reprotoxic, and mutagenic, or CMR for short. We've implemented a formal company-wide chemical management program called ChemSafe, designed to evaluate the risk of all chemicals used and substitute high-risk chemicals with low-risk alternatives. The project was inspired by our core values to create the safest working environment for our employees and be leaders in environmental stewardship throughout our industry. Many countries have strict policies regarding the use of CMR chemicals, but no requirements currently exist in the US. Next slide, please. The benefits of our project include reducing risk to human health and the environment, not only throughout our own operations, but to our customers as well. We have reduced and in some cases eliminated the generation of hazardous waste streams, including solvents and heavy metals. For example, we have eliminated the use of 45,000 pounds of leaded thread compound annually. We have reduced VOC emissions from consumable items such as solvents, paints, cleaners, and lubricants by transitioning to zero HAP, low VOC, and water-based solutions. We have also reduced the risk of toxic releases to wastewater, surface water, and air emissions through the elimination of handling, use, and storage of toxic chemicals. As part of the program, we work to internally develop and standardize sustainable sourcing methods to evaluate and select chemicals, implementing a proactive instead of reactive approach. And finally, we are trying to serve as a model to challenge the industry status quo, our suppliers, and our peers to identify, develop, and use more sustainable products throughout their own operations. The primary lesson that we learned is that education is key for our leadership, employees, customers, and the vendor market. This is not just another one of those programs. It does have a tangible purpose that everyone can appreciate. Because the CMR terminology is not yet common throughout the United States, collaboration with and education on the why we are doing this, why it's important, and what it will result in was critical. This helped push the development of CMR-free substitutes for common products such as inks, paints, coatings, cleaners, and lubricants, and proved key in driving our success in the substitution of more than 93% of existing CMR chemicals with low-risk alternatives throughout our operations. And I also want to extend congratulations to all the other winners and thank you to EPA. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michelle Crane, and I am the Senior EH&S Engineer at the Revity Lafayette, Colorado site. Revity is a global company that collaborates to pioneering technology companies for solutions and services to help our customers redefine the health of our world. Our site in Lafayette, Colorado manufactures research reagents for gene modulation and synthetic RNA and DNA for diagnostic testing. Next slide, please. In order to manufacture research reagents, we need the basic building blocks of RNA and DNA. These molecules are called amidites. After synthesizing amidites, we need to then purify them to ensure that there are no contaminants and that the amidite can move on to the next phase in production. In 2022, our chemist Anush Kalana began testing the viability of changing the production purification method used in our amidite process from silica media purification to separation funnel purification. In silica media purification, the crude product is added to the top of a column filled with silica, and using different polarity solvents, the amidite is washed through the silica. With each solvent rinse, any incomplete products or impurities are washed out, and the final collected solvent disposed of. Then the process is done multiple times until the final rinses are done with a solvent of the same polarity as the product and collected for the next step in the amidite synthesis process. As you can imagine, this creates a lot of waste as you have to do this many, many times. In contrast, separation funnel purification consists of a crude product being added into a special flask called a separation funnel, and a solvent of the same polarity as the product is added to the crude material. The mixture is then agitated and left to sit where it separates into two defined layers due to the polar attractions. And then the product moves from its previous solution into the same polarity solution. At this point, we wash off or we dispose of the collected non-product layer, and we keep the product layer, which we then use condensation evaporation to remove the liquid from, and we are left with a very pure final product. Next slide, please. This process change resulted in a notable savings, massive hazardous waste reductions, and a more efficient process that increased average product yield by 13 to 18%. Annually, this change has prevented the generation of nearly 13,000 pounds of hazardous waste between the three different types of waste streams it used to create. And with all of this prevention came the savings of $122,500 annually. Our team is inspired by Anish Kalana, who executed this change, and his innovative application of existing methodology for a new purpose is what we as a company are proud of. Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and thank you again, EPA, for allowing us to participate and giving us this award. We're a franchise car dealership, Carson City, Nevada, the Silver State, right there in the capital. And we've only been doing this for about a year. We've accepted a challenge from Toyota Motor Sales United States to help them achieve their goals by 2050 of their environmental carbon initiatives, carbon neutrality initiatives. And so they challenged us about a year ago. And we contacted people from Western Nevada College and the Nevada Green Business to help us do that. Because as you can imagine, as an auto dealership, we didn't know the first thing about how to do that. And we didn't take it lightly, so we ran with it. And as of about a month ago, became the very first green auto dealership in the state of Nevada. And we're very proud of that. So what we did was follow the lead, if you will, of the Nevada Green Business Network by having us, focus on ways to save through energy, water, our waste streams, etc. And of course, one of the easiest and highest impacts were lighting. And I've got a few slides to show you about lighting here in a minute, but we did what most all other companies do and should do. Of course, your mixed recycling. We changed some of our landscaping to the dryscape. Of course, we're in the northern desert, which saves water and everything else. In our service department, we changed everything to aqueous parts washing, getting rid of the toxic chemicals and cleaning products. We installed low flow plumbing fixtures and aerators in our sinks. And we did all of the of course, reduce, reuse, recycle. We recycle 100% of all our oils, our filters, our antifreezes, and our scrap metals even. Then we took it a step further as an auto dealership. And of course, we've gone full electric capabilities, of course, as the customer desires. But we've provided bicycles even for our customers to use at no charge when they have their vehicles in for service, so they can go enjoy the beautiful Carson City. We spent a lot of time, a lot of money, of course, and are starting to recognize savings. Again, I remind you, it's only been about a year, so we're just starting to track all of this. But we've spent a couple $100,000 in LED lighting retrofits throughout our facility. And any of you that's ever been in an auto dealership know that lighting is a big deal. So you see the first slide there, there's 80 different little squares on that portal sign, and each one of those had a induction bulb in it. And through Toyota Japan's help and Toyota USA, they were able to come up with a private funded mechanism to put 12-volt LED strip lights in that, and it's just incredible now. Next slide. Oh, back up one, please. So this is part of the backside of that portal, but it's also an awning, and again, it's got 16 fluorescents in them that we changed to adjustable 120-volt LED bulbs. Next slide. And we're doing the same with outside wall packs. Again, similar to what most companies should be doing, changing everything to LED as well, 100-watt adjustables. Next slide. This is our, we have a 2-story parts and shipping and receiving warehouse. And literally there were 282 T8 fluorescent bulbs that needed to be changed out in retrofit. And that was done, just showing pictures of what we were able to do there. Next slide. Same thing with our service drive where the customers pull their cars in. We changed out 42 metal halides to the LEDs. Next slide. Same thing here. This is our little coffee bar even, and our cell phone and mobile charging points. We changed those all out to LEDs. Again, it cost of a couple $100,000, but we think the savings are going to be well worth it. Next slide. We did other little things and recommendations as simple as this that you can do to wrap your water heaters to, you know, save your therms. But the Nevada Green Business Network thinks is that just over not even quite a year yet that we have saved over 15,535 pounds of CO2, 48,248 kilowatts, 3,408 pounds of cardboard mixed recycling, 84,816 gallons of water. And I tell you that because what we also did was put in a different car wash with reverse osmosis and recycled water usage. And that's been that's over 60% savings in water alone. And again, it's tough for an auto dealership, but it's been well worth it. Over 30 gallons of hazardous waste, and that's kind of cool because we've changed our rating, for our waste rating from a small quantity generator to a conditionally exempt small quantity generator, which is great, and about 98 therms of natural gas. And thank you again. Appreciate this this award.
Hello, everybody. My name is John Straub. I'm the facilities director for the Pad Climbing. We are a climbing gym that is 24/7. Our motto is climb, community, fitness, and love. And we are very, very big on the community part at our company. Next slide. We are an all-inclusive climbing gym. We are based out of California, San Luis Obispo. We have multiple locations as well as a new one opening up in Binghamton, New York. Next slide. I personally have switched out 380 halogen bulbs to LEDs at our Henderson location, making a total of 450 across the board just this past switchover cycle. We have switched all of our chemicals to Eco Logo across the entire company, making it a new standard for all new locations as well. We are working towards being a battery and old tech drop-off for our community. We have a lot of people who travel, go to parks, pick up quite a bit. We really push the leave no trace, and we allow that to extend into our climbing gym as well, providing people a place to drop off those items that they might be tempted to discard. But our leave no traces extends from our company all the way out to our outdoor practices with all of our members. And we hope to extend that even beyond people that we interact with directly inside and outside. We have also switched over 90% of our products are all completely recycled now, with only a few being 70% and lower. All of our lighted areas as well as ventilation is about 90% motion censored as well in the facility, with bottle fills being a standard since the company's been brought up. And we have strived to reduce all single-use plastics completely removed from the location. Still working on getting our members to switch over to water bottles by offering the bottle fill filtered, even potentially ice options at our new location. But our goal is to hopefully be a staple for some of the fitness options in the area, and hopefully get a couple people to follow suit and some companies to see that there is another way besides single use, especially in a fitness facility where people tend to bring stuff, leave it. It's not a good practice for outside as well. And that is it.
Hey everybody, my name is Brittany Sanders. I am the Senior Environmental Compliance Manager here at Micron. Micron is headquartered in Boise, Idaho, and we are one of the world's largest semiconductor companies, and also the only manufacturer of memory in the United States. We are a Fortune 500 company that currently has a global workforce in 17 different countries at 11 different manufacturing sites. We started in October of 1978 in a small basement in a dentist's office here in Boise, Idaho, and have worked to become an industry leader in innovative memory and storage solutions, striving to transform how the world uses information to enrich life for all. For over the last 40 years, our company has been instrumental to the world's most significant technology advancements, delivering optimal memory and storage solutions. Although you may not be familiar with the Micron name, our products serve as the essential working memory for almost every computing device that is found in cell phones, personal computers, automotive applications, servers for cloud computing, weapons systems, and all other devices that essentially rely on computing. Currently, we have over 52,000 patents, and that number is ever increasing. Next slide, please. So Micron essentially set out in 2020 on our sustainability journey by setting some ambitious long-term goals related to energy, emissions, water, and waste. As our programs have continued to evolve, we revisit these goals on a continual basis to drive greater performance and address the expectations of our stakeholders. This year, our current sustainability targets are pretty ambitious, and we are focusing on achieving a net zero scope 1 and 2 emissions by calendar year 50. And this also includes an absolute reduction in scope 1 emissions by calendar 30 when compared to our 20-year, our calendar 20-year baseline as a starting point. Next, we are also focusing on achieving 100% renewable electricity in the United States by calendar year 25. And this should be noted that this also includes achieving 100% renewable electricity for the new fabs that we are working on building in both Boise and upstate New York. We also have a 75% water conservation goal that we are trying to hit by calendar year 2030 by focusing on reuse, recycle, and restoration efforts. And finally, a 95% reuse, recycle, and recovery rate for our solid waste. And this also goes hand in hand with a zero hazardous waste to landfill by calendar year 30. This year, we currently focused on highlighting some of the key projects that we focused on and kind of exemplifies the hard work of numerous groups across the organization, from our sustainability, procurement, environmental, and facilities teams who are continuously working on finding innovative solutions as we drive towards these sustainability targets. The first one was our solar project, in which we partnered with Idaho Power here in Idaho to build and construct the Black Mesa Solar Project. The Black Mesa Solar Project will allow Micron to purchase electricity from the utility over the next 20 years and help us on our journey towards achieving the renewable electricity goal that we have. This is essentially equivalent to powering about 9,000 homes for 1 year, and also over 178 millions of miles driven by a vehicle. Next up, we focused on a generator particulate reduction project across the site, realizing the impacts that our operations have on the ambient air in our airshed. We spent approximately $500,000 to retrofit some of our older emergency generators on site with particulate filters. By doing so, this allowed us to reduce the particulate matter annual emissions by about 400 pounds, or 85%. Carbon monoxide was reduced by 3,900 pounds, or about 80%, and VOC, we achieved about a 480-pound reduction, or 70% reduction. In addition to just the benefits to the emission reductions, this helped to reduce the PM ambient air concentrations by about 7%. And finally, the last project that, or I should say collective projects, was that we focused on 7 different energy efficiency projects to install different equipment to improve the efficiency across the site. We replaced older cooling towers, chiller units with energy efficient models, and also added variable frequency drive motors to the pumps to eliminate unnecessary use. This had the energy savings of about 19.5 million kilowatt hours per year, which is equivalent to about roughly 1,700 homes electricity for a year, as well as 3.6 wind turbines running throughout the year. In addition to these projects, Micron has also implemented other sustainability programs and activities for team members to participate on a voluntary basis. Examples of these projects include a material reuse area for employees, hosting Earth Day events, improving local critical habitat along the Boise River, and forming a community conservation team, which allows employees to participate in environmental activities, initiatives, and ultimately learn more about specific areas of interest. As Micron continues to grow, we're excited about the collective efforts of our groups and continue to pursue initiatives that allow us to expand our sustainability efforts and continue to drive the idea of being, good stewards in the communities in which we operate. Appreciate the opportunity, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much to all of our presenters today. Great wealth of information out there and great projects. While we have this slide up, we do have time for questions and answers, and I thought maybe we could start with someone from EPA, letting the attendees, folks on the call today, know about how they can participate next year, perhaps by nominating a business for recognition under this program.
Hey, Joy, this is Melissa. Can you see and hear me okay? Oh, yeah, there we go. Yes.
There you go.
Yes, so my name is Melissa Payan. I'm the Region 8 Pollution Prevention Coordinator. Thanks to all the businesses who were on today and presented. Tons of great projects. If you are a company or an organization that is interested in applying to next year's program, we're looking to open up the applications in spring of 2025. I'll go ahead and post the website. Actually, it's right here, but I'll go ahead and post it in the chat so you guys have access to it. But I also encourage you to reach out to your regional coordinators so they can add you to their email distribution list.
Thank you, Melissa. So like I mentioned, if you guys have questions for any of the companies that spoke today, they are happy to take questions as a panel. They can come on camera. Let's see, I'm going to go to what is in the question and answer box already. There was a question in the very beginning for Amy with Purina, asking what are some ways that Purina is planning to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050?
Yes, thank you. So majority of our factories are, 50 plus years old. Our current factory in Hartwell is, 6 years old. So we have a lot of already sustainable practices such as LED lighting and use of natural gas. A lot of our other factories, like I said, are over 50 years old. So they're converting to LED lighting. We have a pilot project for trucks to run alternative fuel, and also turning all of our diesel vehicles into electric vehicles. Majority on note of our savings, greenhouse gas savings, are coming from our sourcing of our ingredients throughout the world.
Thank you, Amy. There's a question maybe back to EPA. Someone's wondering if Region 6 has a coordinator or program for these types of recognitions.
There we go. Sorry, guys. This is Melissa again. As of right now, Region 6 is not participating in the recognition program. But if this is something that, if you're a business or an organization that would like to possibly expand into Region 6, please reach out to me, and I can work with the regional coordinator to see if they have the capacity to possibly launch one next year.
Thanks, Melissa. Are there any other questions for any of our outstanding businesses today?
I had a question for Bonnie about the vertical wastewater.
Sure.
I was wondering if she could explain that a little further.
Sure. From that image in the slide, no, I'm not an engineer, so I can't give you that in depth, but basically from our old sand filter system, this new system consists of beds of layered gravel and pipes, and our effluent, and then it's overplanted with native plants, sedges, rushes, etc. And as those plants grow, they provide a environment that the microbes are happy to inhabit, and then those microbes are what processes the effluent. Because the system periodically pumps through and it drains through, it goes back and forth between aerobic and anaerobic processing conditions, and that's what enables us to treat to such a high level. It's used extensively in Europe, even for home systems, and our work with Montana State University Engineering and Dr. Otto Stein and Dr. Chris Allen involved ensuring that the system would work at a high elevation cold environment such as Bridger Bowl. I hope that answered enough.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks, Bonnie. Any other questions? This webinar is being recorded, and we will prepare it for posting on the EPA website, as I mentioned in the very beginning, so folks can go back and revisit it and reach out to folks if they have other questions. But I guess in the meantime, we will turn it back over to Anahita to give some closing remarks.
Thanks so much. And I just want to thank each of our speakers for these informative and inspiring presentations, to Region 8 for coordinating our awards this year, and to each of you for your attendance and participation. This has been an incredible kickoff to Pollution Prevention Week, and I hope that you will all continue to celebrate with us. As a reminder, this webinar, as Joy said, was recorded. It'll be posted. For more information on, please be sure to visit our website. I think Adam's going to drop a link in the chat. Please also be on the lookout for next year's application to be posted in March of 2025. And yeah, for more information, please reach out to your regional pollution prevention coordinators. And thank you again, everybody. It's been a pleasure being with you these last several hours, and happy Pollution Prevention Week. Take care.